Okay. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So one of the questions that haunts me from seeing this, which is super cute, by the way, super, super cute. Um, there was something about why a soul wouldn't want to live on Earth. So if that question was asked to you, where would your soul want to go?
On Earth, or where to go? Not
If you wanted to, no, not on Earth. If your soul, if you had a place to pick your soul to be other than Earth, let me rephrase the question. If you had a place to pick your soul to be other than Earth, where would you want to go? Where would you want your soul to go?
Oh, because I would pick Earth. Unlike 22. And I think 22 ends up wanting to pick Earth. So I learned the lesson from her, I guess. Well, I think the Great Before is pretty cool, too. I mean, spending eternity there wouldn't be bad.
Okay. And what was the impetus to spin this off? I know you guys said that there wasn't enough room in Soul to explore this, but why take this whole different journey and put it into a short?
Well, we have a tradition of making a DVD short for our features on most movies, not all of them. And this is part of that tradition, although Disney Plus, it's now kind enough to continue it. So it was going to be about the movie Soul. And as we were making Soul, we explored Joe Gardner's life in great detail. We get to know his family, his friends, his past. And as we were making Soul, 22's past didn't really belong in the movie other than those quick little snippets of the mentors. But we talked about it a lot, and we had a lot of ideas and a lot of jokes about what makes a person like 22. And so this was just an opportunity to take one aspect of that and explore it a little bit.
I love that. Thank you so much, and congratulations on the Oscar.
Thank you.
Hi, Kevin. This is Joey Inigo from mousinfo.com.
Hi.
Hi. So I wanted to congratulate you on your directorial debut. That's super exciting, I'm sure. One of the things, Carla kind of touched on my main question, so I got caught a little off guard there. But I guess one of the other things that a lot of our readers find so interesting is when there's a chance to add Easter eggs into the picture. And I know a short is you got to move quickly, but we do revisit the Hall of Inspiration. So I was wondering if you were able to get any personal nods or Easter eggs into the short.
Yes, I put in 2 visual nods to Apocalypse Now that are in the Hall of Everything shots.
Yeah, and an audio one as well.
Yeah, oh, you caught that. That's
very good.
The first person to mention that.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually wanted to put a helicopter runner coming through that shot, and it was just too difficult to do. That world, it turns out, I didn't realize this to this extent, that world to recreate the Hall of Everything and to reshape things and relight things is really, really difficult. So we just didn't have the means to go all the way with that one.
Gotcha. And then touching on your directorial debut, obviously 2 decades of experience working at Pixar, but was there any challenges or any rewarding things that you sort of came to realize through the process of directing the short?
Yeah, editors by definition are judgmental people, and in our job, it's really our job to be judgmental in a sense. The material comes in and we decide, yes, this should be in the movie, this shouldn't, this isn't a good idea, that is. That's our opinion. But we can be pretty harsh about it, frankly. And so to be the one, presenting the material to be judged by the crew was a great life lesson for me, I gotta say.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Kevin. I am Megan Demore with Comic Book Resources. I wanted to ask specifically about the young talent in this short, because that's the thing that stood out the most to me, the thing that I would say that I enjoyed the most. What was it like for you, not only in your directorial debut, but to be working with a cast that was quite so young and sort of really developing and fleshing out those little personalities?
So yeah, the first lesson anyone will give you as far as directing is your first time out, you shouldn't direct children or animals. So, but having worked at Pixar so long, I have a lot of experience editing, children's voices, and certainly being at the recording sessions. And we had this great team up in Vancouver, a loop group team, and they were just so much fun to work with. And then we had, the advantage with animation is you cut the voices separate from the picture before they're animated. So you can be a little freer with cutting up dialogue and finding the performances because you don't have to worry about, visual sync. And so we definitely had an advantage there. But the kids were so much fun, and it's always fun to see what they accidentally come up with.
Yeah, I wanted to jump off of that as well. Did they do anything that surprised you? What was, I guess, maybe one of your favorite memories of working with these kids?
It's more just, there's no big surprises in that, they said anything that I recall. It's just how they are so innocent and pure when they're recording, it's just great material to work with, really.
Thank you.
Hi, I was quickly wondering, Dana Abercrombie from the Koalition. I was wondering, was there ever a decision to focus on 22's life on Earth, or was it always to focus on the great before?
It was always to focus on the great before. We actually, in the feature, we had storyboarded a couple scenes where you see where she ended up, not as an adult, but as infancy. And it just, it just turned out better to leave it to the audience's imagination.
Right.
And for me, the bigger questions were, where does she come from? How did she get to where she is in the movie? That to me was just a more interesting question to explore.
Right.
What makes a person like that?
Can you talk about the inspiration behind some of the badges? I love it's so comedic. I love how we have there's the liar, and there's the one who plays basketball, and it's all over, but it's hilarious all at the same time. Was there any inspiration behind the badges?
Those just evolved, but that was Josh Cooley wrote this, and that's his humor all the way. And then visually it was Reg and Hainan's story were kicking around, and later even in animation, kicking around what would those badges, what would be the best icon for liar. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, those things just evolve.
The sheep was hilarious.
It was. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Melissa from the Mommyhood Chronicles. I absolutely adored this, and I loved learning about 22 and all his quirky cynicism. At the end, we really get to see the meaning of life and everything like that. Is this what you're hoping to portray in this short?
Yeah, I love leaving it sort of up to the audience to fill in the blank. That's what you mean.
Yeah. So it's open, kind of open. And will we see more? Will we see more of this? You think,
I hope so, but we have a lot going on at Pixar, and we don't like to talk too much about that. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Let's go back up to Carla. Let's keep going through.
All righty then. I'd be happy to come back. So I want to swing back around to having your directorial debut, Kevin. Is it very challenging to direct for someone who is beginning in this genre? Is it a little challenging to direct a short as opposed to a feature animated project, do you think? Was that a challenge for you, or did you just go all throttle, full throttle?
I went full throttle, but I think I couldn't have had a better circumstance for directing something the first time at Pixar. It's a movie, it's based on a movie I just spent 4 years working on, so I knew it intimately. I knew all the people working on the movie. I'd worked closely with them for years. And a short is nice because you don't have the space to run away from the story. You don't have the space to get too lost because you're working in a very contained amount of time. We're going to be true to the world that that we just came out of in Seoul. So it's really the ideal situation to get your feet wet directing. something a little more limited.
And will we see a short with Joe?
I would love to see that myself, you know.
You're like, yeah, I'd like to see that myself. Let's talk about that, shall we?
You know, there's a lot going on at Pixar, and it takes time for these things to evolve. So there's always.
I'm gonna take that as a wink, wink. We might see it. That's what I'm gonna take that as.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I know I don't want to get you in trouble. Thank you.
Carly, troublemaker. Hi again, Kevin. It's Joey from Mouse Info again. I wanted to touch on a little bit what you said earlier, how the two visual nods that you were able to sneak in were for Apocalypse Now, and then that also obviously being the name of 22's little, rebellion. I guess is there anything, is there a story behind where Apocalypse came from and how you decided on that as sort of her embodiment of her mission?
Well, you know, the original script Josh wrote, it was chaos, and my brain immediately, being my age, immediately went to Get Smart, the TV show Get Smart, and I thought that's what people would associate chaos with, which probably not, because it's not. It's been a while since that was a thing. But then I think we were sitting around with Hank Park and Reg, the story people, and Josh, and just started kicking around different ideas for what this club might be. And then Apocalypse came up, and since Apocalypse Now is one of my favorite movies, so it's easy for me to go there.
Yes, she's so dramatic, so I think it's fitting to go so epically big. Thanks again.
I want to circle back around to what Mel was saying about the message in this short. What do you hope viewers take away from this short, particularly the younger viewers?
I approach these things always as hoping the audience walks away from, whether it's our feature or the short or whatever, thinking about something and talking about something. And I wouldn't want to, label it with one specific thing as far as that goes.
Thank you.
Yes, hi. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So sorry. Technology. Yes, I was wondering, through this entire journey that you spent for the 4 years making Soul and then the short, was there a moment when you realized that you had an idea for the short, that it'll pan through? Or is it usually starts off with like a short idea first and then it goes into the larger scope of a movie?
It actually, the initial ideas for the short, I wasn't in the room, I was still editing the movie Soul, and about 6 or 8 months before release of the feature, there's usually a conversation about what a potential movie could be, and the story team on Soul came up with 2 or 3 ideas, and then by the time I came around, we had narrowed it down. And we talked about a couple other things that, one was too adult, maybe, and then it's finding the story that will fit in this amount of time.
Right.
Is really what decides it ultimately. So this one just worked out to be the one.
And just wondering, for Soul overall and for this, would you say that as a director, for you, it's the emotion that drives you and the story and what you create, or is it the visuals? What is it that drives you first?
For me, it's the emotion and the tone, definitely, and then making it funny and entertaining, of course, is always there. But I want to start with the emotional core of the story. I find it easier to attach entertainment to something you have than to start with the entertainment and try to form that into an emotional story. So yes, I would say
Thank you.
definitely the emotion.
Hello again. I just wanted to know, when you're doing the short, you obviously have an idea in mind, but is it very hard to narrow it down into such a short period of time for the audience to see at the end result?
Yes, I mean, that's the biggest challenge. I mean, with the initial script and the first pass on the storyboards was definitely more involved. And, you just you show it to people, and then you get the feedback that this is really what the story is. So take all the other stuff out, and especially in a short. I mean, in a feature, obviously you can explore those different ideas, but really the trick with the short is to figure out where it's going and just take all the extra stuff out. So that was a really good note.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes remaining, everyone. Let's do this last round, just one question each. I think we'll be able to get through everybody.
Got it. And I'm back. And this time I'm not going to be a troublemaker, I promise. So, Kevin, at the end, we hear 22 talk about the meaning of life. If you had to say the meaning of life is, how would you finish that sentence for yourself?
I hate to answer that question because it's such a moving target. And I wouldn't want to make it one thing. I have many different ideas about the meaning of life. So I don't know if I should answer that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. That's all right.
All right, I'll pick up the troublemaker baton from Carla. No, it's less of a question and just more of a statement. I mean, I definitely echo Carla wanting to see more Joe and his family in his world, so that would definitely be awesome. But also, Soul Cat, he has 9, or she, I don't know if it was a he or she. There's 9 lives there. I know, I forgot who was talking that was an idea talked about for the movie. Would love to dive more into that world with another short or something else in the future. So I don't know if you have anything to comment on that. It was not really a question.
That was an idea we actually developed pretty far along for the short, and just was a little complex and a little, but yeah, I'm with you all the way. I love cats. I love my cat. And I think the relationship between a cat and a cat would be a great thing to look at.
Definitely. All right. Thanks again, Kevin. Appreciate your time.
So you mentioned earlier that one of the challenges, I guess, of this short was trying to stay on target and getting in everything you can into this. It was like 5 minutes. Was there anything that ended up on the cutting room floor that you could share with us that didn't make it into the short?
We were pretty disciplined actually with this because we knew what the parameters were. Really, the main thing that ended up getting cut out was in the opening scene. We had a lot more back and forth with 22 and the counselors and sort of digging into their relationship a little more because I really wanted to explore that. But ultimately, we just had to let that go because it would have made, instead of 5 or 6 minutes, it would have made it 10 minutes. We weren't going to go there. So.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm just wondering, did you have a favorite badge or child or soul?
I guess my favorite, I just like the sheep thing. I'm a follower. I don't know why.
Wonderful.
Hello, my last question is, was this hard to make during COVID? And I think you made it during this, so was there anything that you had to do special for that?
Yeah, it was very hard, and it was very hard. I mean, the crew was just amazing because we went home and we started production like the next day on this. So it was everybody's first round with working from home, and a lot of the crew had young kids and they're home from school. Your internet's maybe not fast enough yet, and nobody's used to Zoom. It was really, and for me, having to I've never directed animation. I've been in animation dailies forever, but I've never actually been responsible for directing it. And to do it in this new format was very, very challenging.
Thank you. It came out beautiful.
Thank you.